All right. I have no crazy intro. I'm super tired, but we got an episode to record.
Oh,
So let's record it.
give us chaos.
No chaos. There's enough chaos in MLS Week 4 that we will go over in our next episode. But what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Designated Players Podcast. We are on Season 3, Episode 15 already. This is unreal how many episodes we've gone through. I believe this is episode 91 of our entire podcast history, so closing in on that 100 mark. Which is super exciting. We got a few headlines to talk about today that we want to share our opinions on, get our opinions going with. We're going to start nice and easy with the New England Revolution. There it is. The New England Revolution and their absolute failure of a CCL second leg. U.S. men's national team roster for the final World Cup qualifying triplet of games has been released. We're going to talk about it. We're going to share some very good thoughts. St. Louis SC are starting to make some signings for their new team. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about where we see the rest of the signings going and how things work. Connor, you ready to go?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready to go. I got a fresh haircut just for this episode.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't
Oh,
tell.
you don't believe me?
Still looks off point to me.
Well, you're just a hater.
We love inside jokes. I would say should we get started, but we all know what we have to do first.
Scarf of the week.
Scarf of the week. I see you're wearing something that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about, so that's good.
Yes, what I've decided is to make amends for dumping on FCC last week. I've decided that I will wear the FCC scarf until FCC loses a game. And after their resounding victory against Inter Miami, where they looked actually pretty good, I have brought back the FCC scarf.
So basically what you're saying is you're never taking that scarf off. Because as we know, FCC to the moon.
You know what that means, though? That means they'd be in Concacaf Champions League next season. Could you imagine?
Yeah, you're dead. If you could hook that straight to my veins watching Pat Noonan and FC Cincinnati run around against Pumas and Tigres. Oh, man, the scenes.
It'd be amazing.
The absolute scenes. See, I'm smart. I connect my scarves to our topics. So we're repping the United States scarf today as we talk about the U.S. men's national team roster. But before we get to the U.S. men's national team roster, we need to talk about this New England Revolution's Concacaf Champions League tie.
Mm-hmm.
The Revs go up 3-0 after the first leg and then give up 3 unanswered goals, taking the game to penalties. Both teams miss in the third round. Legit skies his 4th round PK. Everybody else makes. Pumas go through. A little bit of breakdown on how this happened. The 32nd minute, the first goal goes in as the Revs back line are watching players run all around. Nobody's marking, and they're able to put the first ball home. Omar Gonzalez is easily beaten to the ball as he's flat-footed watching a striker run across his face for them to tap in a cross from the wing. The third goal, Brandon Bai cannot clear his header, and Edwards lets the ball go straight through his hands. A very, very underwhelming performance from the New England Revolution, who did have their chances to put one away and basically seal their fate, but unfortunately were unable to do so. Thoughts on the game, thoughts on the result, thoughts on the performance?
I think we have to not forget as well that in MLS League play, they also blew a pretty good lead the game before this. I think it was against
RSL.
It was RSL, yeah. They were up 2-0, blew that game, lost it 3-2. Now again, next game up 3-0 against Pumas, blow that lead, losing penalties. I would have to think that morale on this team, and I know we're recording this. We'll talk more about this on the episode released on Wednesday, but based on the result from yesterday, Saturday, it seems like the morale of this team is pretty low. And I feel like that's totally justified. I mean, you've blown back-to-back leads in games, multiple goal leads in games. That's got to kill morale on this team. I mean, it's got to be low.
Yeah, I mean, what do they give it? 9 goals in 3 games, basically?
Yeah, something like that. It's bad. The defense is falling apart. And so, I mean, a little bit of caveat to them is I think they're missing both their starting center backs right now. I believe Kessler and Farrell are out.
Don't you worry. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
I mean, outside of that, this is a full strength Revs roster. I mean, against Pumas in the CCL game, outside of the two center backs. So, I mean, you got Bo, Heel, and Buxa. Those are your DPs. They got to get you a goal in that game. All they need is a goal, and you go through. So, I think you can use the center back argument to an extent, but there's still enough talent on this field based on what we saw last season that they got to get the job done when they're up 3-0.
I agree. I mean, listen, this happens in football, right? This sort of collapse happens, especially when there are multiple legs, right? I mean, the game that everybody's going to reference is PSG Barcelona, right? It happens. But when you have the chance to give your league what essentially will be a 75% chance to guarantee a Champions League title for the league for the first time ever, this hurts a little bit more than if they were to do this in like the first leg or the first round. Okay, that's hurts, but we move on. But this one hurts, and I can't imagine what Rev supporters were feeling after that.
I think we're finally seeing those cracks from how little depth this team has, because they go through their first few injuries, and I bet this is what you want to touch on later, but they go through their first few injuries right now, and the team is not looking great. And I know they got Bruce in charge, and I'm sure Bruce will figure things out, settle people down, like get this team back on track. But it's just looking at like the bench that the Revs had for that CCL game. It's not great. I mean, it's a lot of experience. Don't get me wrong. Emma Boateng, Josie Altidore, Brad Knighton, Tommy Mack, AJ De La Garza. I mean, that's a ton of experience. But how much quality are you really bringing off the bench? It doesn't seem like it's enough at the moment.
What a great transition into what I'd like to talk about. There's a topic that we'd like to talk about who is to blame. You can blame the players for not performing. You can blame injuries and absences like Connor's already tried to do. But at the end of the day, this is on the front office, maybe Bruce Arena, and MLS as a whole. Nobody made the Revs go sign Omar Gonzalez to be their backup center back. Nobody made the Revs stick with Earl Edwards in goal when there were other options out there, or they could have been more ambitious at that spot. Nobody made Emma Boateng be their starting left wing. Nobody made them do that. That came from them. The front office and Bruce Arena were not prepared to be successful in a game when these sorts of hardships come about. There were absences, there were injuries, players underperformed, especially in the back line, but you can't expect to make deep runs in the league or in cups or in Champions League if your depth consists of 37-year-old Omar Gonzalez, Emma Boateng, AJ De La Garza, and Brad Knighton. It just won't work. We'll talk about how we stop this from happening again, but it's very simple. MLS needs to take the training wheels off and let us play with money. But we'll talk about that in a second. I want to know who you think is to blame for this.
No, I think that's pretty spot on. I would say whoever was in charge. I don't know how much influence Bruce has in the transfers and who they bring in. I don't know if this was like Bruce that was like, hey, we should bring in Omar, we should bring in Josie, we should, go with Earl and goal. I don't know. So I don't know if I should put the blame on him as well as the front office, or if it's just solely the front office. But yeah, I agree with you. I think they did not build this roster out well. There's a lot of teams in this league who have proven that you can get quality depth while still having a strong starting 11. Just look at Nashville or Columbus. I mean, these guys have a lot of depth at like majority of their positions. And I feel like with New England, it doesn't even feel like they have depth at any position at the moment. I mean, maybe striker, but that's it. This team was never going to be able to make a long run in CCL and maintain the league and maintain like good performances in the league by just playing the same 11 every single time. They get worn out, especially just to kick off the season. Like, it's not like they're in mid-season form and they've been playing for a while. Like, they're just trying to start to get up to speed and get up to the right fitness level. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think I would blame the players. I'd put more so of the blame on the front office and Bruce on this one.
You can't say they didn't have the money to do it either.
No, they just sold Tajon for a bunch of money.
Now, the one thing I'm trying to double check before we go into this is, yeah. So, oh man, I hate when I do that. So if you look up MLS rules and regulations about their roster, it is way too freaking long. But here's the deal. That's into the league. So I was trying to figure out, I remember at least a couple of years ago, if you sold if you sold a player for any amount
MLS
of
took
money,
like a cut, right?
any amount of money that you sold them for over $750,000, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Anything over 750 went back to the league.
Yeah.
So you kept 750,000 in GAM or TAM or whatever Garber bucks they wanted to give you, and everything else went back to the league. So $5 million for Tajon Buchanan turns into $750,000. So yeah, it might be a little tough to do that, but again, that's still money they could have used. Now, let's take this over to what we really want to talk about. How do you stop this? The only way that you can stop this from happening again is to make sure that teams have enough capital to create the depth that they need in their side. GAM, TAM, YAM, JAM, BAM, whatever new allocation money we have has been a decent start. It's given us more funds to go do what we have to do as a league. But because the league is a separate entity, it has to come through them. We will not keep up with Mexican League giants if we can't get more funds to build out the bottom half of our roster. And this is something that I've seen now. I'm coaching the lowest level of player at U13. The top 7 players on my team, I can send them to our second team. No problem. They fit in, they play well, not a problem at all. But the reason my team, my third team, will never beat the second team is because my bottom 7 are not good enough when I need to put them in. And that's not saying anything towards players. I mean, they're 12 and 13. We have time to develop them and whatever, right? But it's the same deal in MLS. Our bottom half in MLS cannot compete with the top, 4, 5, 6 teams in Mexico. At the youth level, we've got time to build them up and teach them over 4, 5, 6 years. This tournament happens once a year at the beginning of the year. You don't even get to train them up. You just have to hope that they can play. MLS needs to take off the training wheels, basically. It's not an individual sport. 11 players and probably another 11 after that to fill the holes that you need. If you want to compete for everything like the Mexican Giants do, you have to take the training wheels off. I think we're close to it. I think we're close to a point where we can say, remove some of these roster regulations, remove some of these roster regulations, remove some of this GAM, TAM, BAM, YAM. Let the teams have their own control of the funds that they want. Let them buy who they want to have. If you win, you get more supporters, you get more respect. But you can't expect results on a shoestring budget. It just doesn't work that way. So, Daddy Donnie Garber, get it going.
So I wonder how many people that follow MLS actually really know about CCL. Like, I'd imagine majority of the people that are now newly hopping on the Charlotte bandwagon probably have no idea that CCL exists. So I almost wonder how much more merit and fans would you get if you actually won CCL? Like with it, if you're invested in the league and you have like a good understanding of how the league operates and you've been following for a little while, you probably know about CCL and would have like a better respect for winning it. But I feel like if you're kind of just supporting the team because it's maybe like the local team and it's just something fun and exciting, you probably don't even know CCL exists or care about it. So I wonder.
So here's what I can tell you. I have a friend of mine who came from Venezuela who is a massive Barcelona supporter, and he told me basically verbatim, he won't start taking this league seriously until somebody wins the Champions League, which is a very silly thing to say, but that is what he told me. He goes, I'll start taking the league seriously when somebody can win a Champions League. If you're a league that can't win because somebody else keeps, your next door neighbors keep winning it, then how can you be considered a big league? And he doesn't know the intricacies of how things work and the salary cap. And I could take time to explain it to him all, and that's fine, whatever. But I can guarantee you there are a ton of people here. And granted, that may not mean that we're going to make super fans out of them, sure. But it puts our name on the map, right? Let's go ahead and say Seattle wins it all this year, goes over to the Club World Cup, makes it to the semifinals of the Club World Cup. That's massive. That's the first time an American team will ever be able to do that, right? It's about, to me, it's about growing the game in little circles so that we can grow it in big circles, right? You have to start somewhere.
I think if we went to Club World Cup, that gives them more recognition on a world scale.
Right.
I still don't think that gives the recognition. I still don't think it would give that much more recognition here in the US, which is where I think we need to put the focus on, because those are the people that are going to come watch the games and have access to the like the TV options to watch the games at home. Like people around the world probably know the MLS name. Sure, it would give them a better respect that this league isn't a retirement league and that there's actually good talent here. But I mean, for me personally, I'd be more concerned with trying to get the fans more involved here in the US. And I don't think that someone who's like starting to get into it, who was previously like a NFL, MLB, NBA kind of fan, knows or cares about CCL.
Sure. But I would also weigh in that the NFL, NBA, MLB fans who don't know soccer at all don't know about anything Champions League, right? I think our target demographic shouldn't be NFL, NBA, MLB. It should be Euro snobs who are considering our league less because we don't have a Champions League that we can go and say, okay, this is what we've done. I mean, especially all those Man City fans who probably think they have about 7 Champions League because they just buy all the good players but don't actually watch the games. Sorry, that was an unnecessary shot. Listen, there's only one way we're going to find this out. There's only one way we're going to figure this out.
A Twitter poll.
Okay, there are 2 ways we can figure this out. We can do a Twitter poll, or we can go ahead and win the damn thing this year and figure out what happens in a year. So come on, Seattle, fight and win.
Not NYC.
Not NYC.
Their banner might get a little bit bigger.
Man, they would win CCL and get a smaller banner next to it.
They go from a 15 by 30 poster to like 15 by 35.
Oh man, that joke will never get old.
Yeah, and then Yankee Stadium will tell them to take it down because the Yankees are playing now. We got to put up our 26 banners.
But yeah, only one way we'll really find out is to win the damn thing and see what happens. Other things that we need to win are these 3 U.S. men's national team games coming up. Look at that. How's that for a transition? Yeah, that was awesome. Let's run through this roster really quick, and then we'll talk about it. In goal, Ethan Horvath, Sean Johnson, and Zach Steffen, who I thought would have been ruled out with injury, but it's good to see him back. Reggie Cannon, George Bello, Aaron Long, Eric Palmer Brown, Anthony Robinson, Miles Robinson, James Sands, DeAndre Yedlin, and Walker Zimmerman. They list Kellen Acosta as a midfielder. We know he plays left back. Kellen Acosta, Tyler Adams, Gianluca Busio, Luca Della Torre, Yunus Musa, Christian Roldan in the midfield, with Brendan Aronson, Paul Arriola, Jesus Ferreira, Jordan Morris, Pifok, Ricardo Pepe, Christian Pulisic, and Gio Reyna back in action with Tim Weah as well. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the roster? How do you feel?
I honestly, I might be in the minority here, but I'm sure this roster can be improved a bit, but I'm pretty overall happy with the roster. I think it has a good level of experience. This is what I was thinking when I was looking at this for a while when it first came out and trying to like scrolling through, seeing what people were saying on Twitter, just try to get like a pretty broad idea of how people are feeling. And I think we've got 3 games left in qualifying. We're right at the doorstep of being able to make it to Qatar. I think we got to go with experience here, get the guys that know how to play in the pressure situations, who have played for the national team before, get that experience. Doesn't have to be super clean, doesn't have to look amazing. We don't have to look like Man City out there. I don't care as long as we get that ticket to Qatar. I don't care how messy it is, just have to win. I don't care if we squeak in by a point. As long as we are on that plane to Qatar, that is all I care about, especially after what happened last time in 2018. Our goal should just be to make it to Qatar. I don't care if Mexico and Canada finish ahead of us in the table. I just want to make it. I don't need a repeat of last time where we miss out again. It would set back the men's national team program so much. It would be very harmful to the program. So I'm pretty happy for the most part with the guys that they have on here. Yes, I still think you could swap out certain guys to get better players in. But overall, I'm pretty fine with this roster. I think this roster is good enough to get us at least the 1 win or whatever we need to get us to Qatar.
You were giving me really strong, like Alexi Lawless, Taylor Twellman vibe in that little speech. I was sitting there, I was like, come on, hit me with it. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I was waiting for it. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I like it. In this exact same mold that you're in, we've got one job to do: punch our ticket. I don't need trials right now. I don't need somebody to come back and yeah, let's go ahead and give this guy a run or that guy a run. I don't need it. I need a ticket. That's all I need. So I like it. The only people who are really missing, who you would expect to be here, are out because of injury. The Turners, the McKinneys, those types of players. Sure, I'm here. Players know the shape. Players know the tactics. They just got to finish the job.
Yeah.
Lots of room. Oh, go ahead.
We could jump into your thing in a second. One thing I wanted to say, I was looking a lot at comments, as I mentioned before. A lot of people pretty upset to see Jordan Morris, Paul Arriola, Aaron Long with the team. And I just think I fully disagree with that. I think those guys, I mean, if you've watched and followed MLS at the start of the season at all, those guys have been pretty decent. I mean, there's really nothing that they've done to not earn the spot here. And like I said before, we need experience. We need to make sure that we can punch our ticket. We don't need someone, we don't need another like Mark McKenzie in the Nations League final kind of thing, where I feel like his inexperience really showed. I'd rather take I fully feel like Paul Arriola could go out there and work hard and put in a really good shift for us, just as Jordan Morris could. Both of whom have had pretty decent starts so far for their teams this year. Same thing with Aaron Long. And Aaron Long's coming back from injury. It wasn't like he was not performing last year, and that's why he was out of the national team. He was hurt. He's come back and he's played fine. So I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be called into the team again. And I saw a lot of people, shouting for John Brooks to be in the team. Okay, even if you wanted to bring him in, I get it. He's super experienced. Take out Eric Palmer Brown. Why would you take out Aaron Long.
I'm going to stop you. Let's go ahead and move into who shouldn't be here, and we need to address this Aaron Long slander. You jumped through my notes.
I didn't jump through your notes.
No. You rearranged the way I wanted to do things. So now we're jumping around. But we're going to address this now. I was going to wait for it, but now we're going to address it.
Well, we like chaos.
I will not stand for this Aaron Long slander. This is garbage. This is a garbage take from garbage people who don't actually like. There are so many more clever and unique ways to say I am stupid. You don't need to keep coming out and screaming, why is Aaron Long in the national team? If you are a John Brooks stan, fine. I don't care. I just don't care. But Aaron Long is not the sub you're screaming for. Aaron Long is the best 1v1 defender probably in the national team, maybe behind Miles Robinson because of the injury. But if you were telling me that I need one player to stop a Mexican striker from going into goal 1v1, I'm taking Aaron Long, and then if I had to pick a second one, I'm cutting Aaron Long in half, duplicating him, and making him a second choice. He fits the system well because Greg likes to play with high fullbacks. He likes to play with attacking wingbacks, with his wingers tucked in, and everybody going forward at once. Those center backs need to know how to defend 1v1. Aaron Long is that guy. It's clear as day. After 3 games with Red Bull, he's got nearly a 7.0 rating. He scored a goal from a set piece. Red Bull have given up 3 goals in 3 games. Why are we not complaining that Eric Palmer-Brown is here, who's played 12 times for a team in France that's 2 points from the relegation zone? Why are we not complaining that James Sands is in this team, who's played 2 times for Rangers since moving over? Take your Euro snob mindset, get it out of my national team. I will not stand for it. Aaron Long will not be your first choice at center back. Maybe he gets the Panama game if we're already qualified, but he's not starting against Mexico, okay? But if you're going to complain about somebody else or somebody being here who shouldn't be here, get Aaron Long's name out of your mouth. Also, DeAndre Yedlin should not be here. Thank you. So
yeah, if you watched any semblance of Inter Miami this season, you know DeAndre Yedlin should not be here. He's strictly here for the experience. That's it.
But again, right? He knows the system. He plays well in the system. Desti is out hurt. He's the next guy up. It's just the way that it works. Has he had a great year? No. Has he been playing with a really bad Inter Miami back line? Yes. Putting him next to Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, Aaron Long, will that make him look better? 100%. But why are we complaining about one of the best 1v1 defenders in the last 3 years from the national team over somebody who hasn't played more than 3 times for the team that he's currently on, or who has his team playing 2 points above a relegation pace? I will not stand for it. So now I'm going to move on to snubs because now I'm on a roll. People talk about this John Anthony Brooks thing. Cool. Does anybody realize that Wolfsburg are 5 points from relegation? I don't care if he's one of their best players. If you're one of the best players on a team that's getting relegated, you're not a good player. And that's a stretch. I know John Brooks is a good player. I know he is. But here's the deal. If you so people should go follow MLS Transfers. Great source for news. He put together a thread of the last time John Anthony Brooks played in the men's national team during Gold Cup Nations League, kind of that time. I'm pretty sure there are at least 4 or 5 clips of him making mistakes that led to goals. We cannot concede goals this trio. We just can't. We need to qualify. So I'm okay with him not being here because, as we've been saying, we need people who know the system, who are comfortable with the players that are around them. This isn't trial time. January window would have been trial time. But guess what? We were playing qualifiers in January window. So guess what? He didn't get a call. Back in December, he was in the worst form of his career. He didn't get a call. That's just how it works. But people who I need a breath. Euro snobs need to sit it out. Euro snobs need to keep their mouth out of the U.S. men's national team conversation because they just don't get it. Just because he plays in Germany doesn't mean that he just inserts. This isn't 2010. Second level German teams don't automatically get you into the World Cup qualifier roster. It just doesn't work that way.
That's good.
And that's great. It's phenomenal. Would I have liked to see maybe Joe Scally over Yedlin? Yes, but honestly, I don't know how Joe Scally has been performing, if at all. So I'm okay with him not being here because these guys in this roster know the job, know the requirements, know their roles and responsibilities, and give us the best shot. Do I think that they are the best 20, 18, 17, 25, however many brought in? Do I think they are the best of the best? Probably not. But are they the best group of 27 to get us the results we need? Yes. So Euro snobs, quiet down. Keep Aaron Long out of your mouth. John Brooks, maybe he's a snub, maybe not, but we need the points. I don't need trials right now.
Yeah, I wanted to tack on the Euro snobs thing because they were going rampant in the Twitter, and that's normal. That's normal. I know that's going to be common there because it's super toxic in the replies. If you look under like any USMNT roster release, it's awful. So many of them are calling for Joe Scally. Sure, I think that's a great move down the line when we're not 3 games out of World Cup qualifying and we have not qualified yet. That is not the time for Joe Scally to be making his first men's national team appearance. That's not the time. I don't care if he's been playing for Germany and for Borussia Mönchengladbach. I don't care. That's not the time you go give him his first cap. What if it goes horribly? What if we get another Mark McKenzie? We can't afford that right now. We have 3 games left. And I saw so many people calling for Josh Sargent to be called into the team. The man has 2 goals all season. He's got 2, and then we're the same game. He had 1 game where he scored. Otherwise, every other time he has not scored. And he's played over 1,500 minutes. Why would you call him in? You want to take out Jordan Morris? Jordan Morris has like the same number of goals already, and he's played like 4 games this season. Why would you take out Jordan Morris and Paul Arriola, who are in better league form? I get it. They're not playing the same level of competition as Josh is, but Josh hasn't been performing for the men's national team picture, even when he was called in last time. I can't even remember the last time I saw him score a goal for the men's national team. He's just, he's just not a great goal scorer, and he's a striker. He needs to be. I'm looking at his numbers right now previously. Like even when he was with Werder Bremen, his most league goals, I mean, this is just according to who scored, just one source, but the most league goals he has on here is 5. And that was in a season where he played 2,500 minutes. Why do you want to call him in so bad? Because he plays in the Premier League? Like, is that all it takes?
Would we even call that playing in the Premier League? Or would we just call that existing in the Premier League?
Running around in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Are we gonna call in Aaron Austin Trusty now because he's playing on Arsenal or playing on
he's
Arsenal?
He's about to play on Arsenal. We might as well.
Yeah, he should be in the starting lineup, right? How are you going to fit in Zach Steffen and Matt Turner at the same time? They both play in the Premier League. Are we just going double goalkeeper? It's ridiculous.
I think the general vibe of this podcast needs to go under one like slogan. You know, like if you're running for president, you have a slogan. Our podcast slogan is very simple. Eurosnobism is the worst pandemic to hit the United States since, I don't know.
You got to work on that one.
Yeah, we'll get there. But
Eurosnobs in the mud. That's what our slogan should be.
That is the goal. It is a pandemic across the entire United States, and it must end. Educate yourselves, people. Educate yourselves.
They just see any name in MLS that is older than 23 years old and immediately think that they're garbage and don't want them in the team.
Yeah. Why would we call somebody in who's getting regular minutes, performing well, when we could call in this bench guy who plays for the Turkish second division? That's at least Europe.
Exactly. Yeah.
Educate yourselves. I'm going to have to find room on the board. Maybe like right down here, just educate yourself.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. It's not on the script here, but I don't know if this was officially announced at all yet, but seems like Dest got hurt right before. He's currently on the roster.
He's off the roster. They took him off.
Okay. Did they replace him yet?
Bello.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that's the right replacement?
Sure. Doesn't matter to me. I mean, you need somebody with good pace. You need somebody who has good understanding what's going on. It was a toss-up between Bello and Scally, right?
I think you go Bello here. I don't remember this. I thought Scally was right back, right?
Scally is, I think, technically playing on the left.
Okay.
No, he is right back. He's right back. My bad.
Okay. I would absolutely go Bello in that case because you need left back coverage. You have Anthony Robinson, and left back Kellen Acosta, who we all love. We all love some left back Kellen Acosta, but that's all you have. If you go Scally, then you have Cannon, Scally, and Yedlin at right back, and Anthony Robinson at left back. Dest was helpful in that Dest could go either one. He can go left back or right back, but Dest is out now. I think you have to go left back. Plus, I'll take the experience of George Bello over Joe Scally, who's never played for the national team before.
I feel like Joe Scally got a game.
We say?
Didn't Joe Scally get a game?
Maybe he got a friendly, but when I checked his wiki, the latest, I think, national team appearance he had was U17s.
Let me double check here. I could have sworn maybe he got called in but didn't play. Hold on. Lake Grove, by the way. Born in Lake Grove. Yeah, he was called in but never got a game. Okay. Because I remember being hyped that he got called in, but we never saw him. All right, really quick, because I've been yelling a lot. Mexico comes around on Thursday. Who is your starting 11?
So I saw Doyle make a tweet. That's a great way to start every sentence. I saw Doyle make a tweet kind of suggesting like almost like a B team against Mexico, because I
did see that.
I believe, I don't know if this is 100% correct, but I think if we win at home against Panama, we qualify. I could double check it. I was looking at it a while back, so I don't know how reliable that memory was. But I thought if we won at home against Panama, we qualified. That might have been assuming like maybe Canada gets a result against Costa Rica or something. I don't remember exactly. Honestly, I somewhat agreed, somewhat disagreed with Doyle's tweet. I kind of get it. I don't necessarily think that we have to push all our best players super hard against Mexico. I mean, that's automatically going to be a tough game. Playing against Mexico as at the Azteca is never going to be easy. And if you can rest your guys a bit more and get them to play a bit fresher against Panama at home, where you really, really, really need 3 points, and then try to get a result against Costa Rica if you really need it at that point, I'd take that over trying to win away at the Azteca. So my thought process was kind of go with more of a rotational team against Mexico. And if they can keep it tight, you bring on your better players in the second half and try to push for a result then at that point. But if they go out there and they just get blown out, then just rest the guys. Let them get ready to play against Panama.
So who's your starting 11? Who do you pick?
I'd probably go. I think I'd still go Stefan in goal just to get it, because I know he doesn't play as much for the club team. I'd probably go Reggie Cannon on the right, 2 center backs. I'd probably go Long and Zimmerman, and then left back Anthony Robinson. Midfield, I'd go Adams, Acosta, and Luca. And then forwards, I'd probably go Areola on the right, probably Aronson on the left, and then Pfak at striker. I don't know.
Right, so
That's kind of off the dome.
Okay, so here's the deal. The very last thing I want to do is go to Costa Rica needing a result. I don't want to show up at Costa Rica saying I need to just get a point and we're through to the World Cup. You know, the last time we had to go somewhere just to get a point to get to the World Cup, want to know what happened? We lost against a much worse team than Costa Rica. I'm not doing it. So I'm going balls to the wall. Everybody who we can goes and starts. Ethan Horvath has been the hottest men's national team goalkeeper over the last 2 months. I'm putting him in goal again, and against Mexico. Yeah. Reggie Cannon at right back. Zimmerman. I'm sorry, not Reggie Cannon. DeAndre Yedlin at right back for the experience. Zimmerman, both Robinsons make up my back four. Adams, Acosta, Musa in the midfield. Aronson, Pfak, and Pulisic up top. You have to go try and get it. If you can get a point here at Mexico, it makes everything else easier. But if you don't even try, you're basically saying, okay, I've got 2 games to qualify instead of using all 3. I understand the mindset behind give it a rest game and try and focus on the 2 important games. It's just not practical. You can't expect people to take a game off and then automatically click it on. It's something I always told my players when I was a captain back at Alfred. It was mindset isn't something you turn on and off, right? You can't go into a game or a session thinking, oh, I could take this one off because I got more down in the future. Every game has to be played like it's their last. Every session has to be like it's last. So they have to go out and perform.
I still think you could rotate positions, send them out for 45 and say, hey, keep us in this game. Then in the second half, you bring on your Pulisic's, your Pepis, your Musas, or whatever you decide to rotate. Then they could still give you a good 45, but now they haven't, they don't have to go the full 90 for 3 games. Because I don't remember how much the spacing is, but I don't think it's a ton of time in between games, especially because they got to travel to Mexico, then back to the US to play, and then to Costa Rica. So it's a lot of traveling back and forth. I don't think it's the worst idea to, let them play maybe the second half if you're still in the game. I mean, if you're getting blown out in the first half, then you probably just, bite the bullet at that point. But I would say rotate a couple positions, send them out there, say, keep us in this game. Even if you give up a goal or something, keep it 1-0 or something. Just keep it close. We can bring on our better players in the second half, give them 45, so it's still time for them to make a difference, and see if you can grab something there. But that way, then at least it gives them some bit of rest in order to go play I would say, easier games, because I think Mexico away is going to be the hardest one of the window.
I think any game that you have to win becomes the hardest game of the window, because the pressure of knowing that if you lose, you're out makes it 10 times harder.
You got to win every game at this point. That's the mindset. So
sure, that's the mindset, but in reality, it's not. You need to win 1. But if we go in and say, okay, Mexico's a wash, let's just focus on the last 2. Let's say we score a 90th minute own goal. Now we have to go to Costa Rica to get a result. I don't want that to happen. So I say, let's get the points on the front end and then calm down when we know we can calm down, instead of prepare expecting to be in. Expecting to get in is why we didn't get in 2018. We can't expect.
I get that, but you can also just expect to get a point, even playing the best away at Mexico. I mean, but
you can't just throw it away. You can't just throw it away.
I'm not saying you have to throw it away, but you can just play it a little smarter, knowing you have a home game against Panama.
Only one way to find out, and that's to wait and figure it out. And Twitter polls.
I think Greg will follow your mindset. I think he's going to go for it, is my guess.
Greg and I are both football masterminds.
But I don't think it's going to be the same lineup that you put. I think you're going to see more MLS guy action, some more Paul Areolas, maybe a John
Paul Areola's not a bad shout, man. He does the job well.
I think Paul's a better option off the bench, though. I think he'll provide good pressing and energy off the bench as opposed to having to start.
Which is fine. Let it happen.
Yeah, I'm not against it.
All right.
How would you, one last quick question before we jump to St. Louis. How would you factor Gio into the team? Because I noticed he wasn't in your 11.
He's not in my 11 because I don't know where he's at health-wise.
Assuming he was fully up to fitness and healthy,
if he's
where would
fully
you
up
put
to
him?
fitness, Aaronson's on the bench. I mean, that's not a hard one. But I'm assuming that he's coming back off of, they're going to try and work him into the team, get, in the kind of like you said, once we're in.
Does Gio play on the right? I don't remember.
They're attacking wingers. They flip-flop all the time. How many points do you get, and are we going to get in? My final question for you.
How many do we need to get in, or how many do you think we're going to get?
How many points are we going to get, and does that number of points get us in?
I think we get. Yeah, I think I'm on the same mindset as you. I think we get 4, and 4 is definitely enough for us to qualify, in my opinion.
Spoiler. If we beat Panama, I believe we're in.
That's what I think too. And I think outright in, not even playing a game.
No, because we need to get 4 points, right? So let's think about it this way. Mexico beats us. And if Mexico beats us, Panama wins. whatever game they're playing.
I think
Panama's
they
on
have an
20.
easy game. So
Panama's on 20. We're on 21. Mexico 24. Canada will say 28. Whatever. We go to Panama. Let's say, or Panama comes to us. We win. Panama stays 20.
yeah,
We go
we're
to
at 24. In which case, Panama wouldn't be able to pass us.
Right. Costa Rica would need to win out to stay relevant.
Yes, which they have to play
19.
They have to play Canada and the US.
Right. It'll be 19, 22, 25. They would be playing for the play-in game. So a win against Panama all but secures us in.
Yeah, we would just have to have Costa Rica drop 1 point or any point at all. So like
Right.
if they would have to win all three. But if we win against Panama, we at least get the play-in game, which obviously we're not aiming for, but at least you get the play-in game.
I will take 4 points, get us in, and then stress in November.
The nice thing is Costa Rica has to play Canada first, and Canada still hasn't technically qualified either. So you got to figure Canada's going to go for it.
Well, Canada's into the play-in game no matter what. They can.
Yeah, but they want it. They want it outright. Why would you not play for that?
Of course, but I'm just saying.
If Canada can just grab a point, if they draw with Costa Rica, then all we got to do is get it done against Panama, and we're in.
Yep.
Let's schedule another Minnesota game. We can get it done.
All right, let's move on really quick. Just a quick little segment on St. Louis City SC. They really went and took. I almost feel like this is a joke on like European teams. Like St. Louis is not St. Louis City, so St. Louis City SC is kind of funny to me. I wish they did something like really funny, like St. Louis Town City SC Ajalbian Football Club, something really funny like that. But anyways, they're into their initial roster build. They've got 4 players signed, working on a 5th with a head coach. Roman Berkey, a phenomenal goalkeeper signing. I think that's awesome. Selmir Pedro, playing currently at Sarajevo in Bosnia. Thomas Ostrak, currently playing as a midfielder in Cologne. And their designated player striker, Klaus, currently on loan from Hoffenheim in the Bundesliga at Sint Truiden in Belgium. They're looking to add Joachim Nielsen from Arminia Bielefeld and are being coached by Red Bull legend Bradley Carnell. How do you feel?
It feels a little weird. It seems like they're kind of going a different route than most other expansion teams have, with a much bigger European presence. I know Klaus is Brazilian, I believe, but still playing in Germany. Majority of these guys coming in from Germany. Even the defender Nielsen, that's I guess rumored another Germany addition. I know that's something we were going to talk about. I know it's in the notes. I'm jumping notes again, but yeah, it's very different. So I'm very interested to see how this pans out. Is this going to be successful? Is it going to flop as an expansion team? I think the signings so far are pretty good. I was definitely higher on Berkey when I first saw the name, and then I kind of looked into his numbers a bit, and he has some pretty not great ratings on Who Scored. Granted, MLS is not at the level of Bundesliga, so I expect that he will perform better here. Still excited about that signing. And yeah, I just think I so far I feel like it's a pretty decent roster build. I'm not gonna deny that. It's different. I like that. I like the different, because the last few, I feel like the expansion teams nowadays have not been performing so great. So glad to see them try something different.
Yeah. I use the term ambition. I think there's really good ambition here. You've got what is easily considered a very strong back in your goalkeeper spot there with Roman Berkey, and at 31 years old, he can be a leader, right? And I think that's what they're looking for. A lot of these expansion teams are struggling to find a leader who has really good experience, right? If I think about Charlotte,
Yeah, I feel like that is something
can't
they're
think
lacking.
of, right? Pedro, young left back, and he's 24 years old, 75 appearances to his name. So ability to grow and ability to play at a high level. Ostrak, 22-year-old youth international, currently in the Czech Republic youth system. Klaus, 25 years old, 150 appearances, 50 goals. I mean, they're building a base of players who have experience already, and then they'll go ahead and fill that out with some MLS signings. But the league has an international cap. It's not going to go like this forever, but it's very interesting to see this diversion from the young South American high big name players that everybody's been using. I think what they really need to do is continue down the path that they're on. They've kind of picked a path already. If you try and mix the European style with the South American style, you're going to have varied success, if any at all. Bradley Carnell has Bundesliga experience and MLS experience, right? He's played in Bundesliga. He's coached MLS. I'd be very interested to see how he kind of brings it all together. But one of the things I kind of been noting is a ton of players from MLS do make the move to Bundesliga eventually. So why not go the other way? Why not see if that works the other way, right? So it'll be a very interesting couple more weeks for this side.
Yeah, not to mention they're already setting up a good pipeline if they do want to, if St. Louis does develop talent and wants to send them to the Bundesliga. Now they're already building these relations with these teams. So
right,
yeah, good start. Good start.
I would expect a lot more youth international signings from Europe, not from South America, and a very different play style. That's what I would expect out of this is, instead of the high press, dump it over, win the ball high, or counterattack, right? Sit low and let your South Americans be South Americans, let them be creative and clever. I would expect a much more possession-based, calm, patient, work it out of the back, kind of tactical mindset. But that's just me. I'm not quite sure if that'll happen. Not too much more to add for St. Louis, unfortunately. There is
not yet,
not a lot, but listen, they're moving on. I'm sure we'll be talking about them a lot more as the time goes on. So I was gonna try and think of a question of the week, but I don't got one.
That's all right. We'll think of one for the Wednesday episode.
The Wednesday episode. All right. Well, on that note, then we will go ahead and end it here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope you enjoyed. Make sure you are following us everywhere you get your podcasts so you know we go live. Make sure you are following us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Search the Designated Players Podcast, and you'll find us anywhere on those sites. Other than that, season 3, episode 16 is right around the corner. Make sure you're ready for it, where we review week 4 of MLS play, which I will need to do some catch up on because I've been busy all weekend. Connor, what else you got?
Nothing else.
All right, then. Well, thanks everybody for listening. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time on the next episode of the Designated Players Podcast. See ya.